Hello and Allahu Akbar to all the people of the planet, especially American. Tonight I'm going to talk to the American people. I've been always mesmerized by them. As a kid, when we were playing games, and in the dusk we had to go home. Our parents would call to come home. I always look at the dusk. There was light. And I always said people are not sleeping there in that light if I could go there. That's America. From childhood, I was very much attracted, I should say, by this American arts, literature, movies, anything. American was so nice. I remember I used to go to some English, which was very few, at the English comic store. Those days I used to go buy those classic illustrated to read them. I couldn't read them, but I had to get dictionary and try to word by word to understand what a collection it was. So my talk to you is as a simple person. I'm not an academic. I'm not trained by your system. I'm trained by Baha'u'llah, by God. You have to listen to me as you listen to a friend in order to be able to forgive my English, my wrong use of words, and a lot of things like that. But in my thinking, in Iran, and especially when I come to Canada, American politics, American people, always is something that I liked. I always was saying that why Canada and the United States are not one country, they should be together. Anyways, going back to what I want to try to say, let me go back to the very beginning of this series. Was the evolution of ideas. I spoke there that ideas comes from the question that certain people came and give a response that become acceptable to certain groups in a nation or a village or whatever. It starts like that. And these were the beginning of mythology. Many mythologies were in the world. They all died out because they were not coinciding with the need of man. Hebrew mythology continued to become evolving into religion. People like Abraham and Moses came out of it. Abraham had two children, you know, Isaac and Ishmael. From Isaac we know Jesus Christ in Christianity, and from Ishmael we know Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, and the religion of Islam. As Christianity encountered the philosophy of the Greek, it could not stand it, or the priests were not capable at the time, so they decided not to let any knowledge of such to enter into the Christian community, Dark Ages so-called. But God had a backup plan, just like Bill Gates' Windows 95 and then 98 and 2000, Islam was a different window. When you study it thoroughly, like me, you'll see that it is Christianity, but updated. Or for that matter, Judaism. So, but Islam, when it came, it was very compatible with the philosophy of the Greek, and that is why there were a lot of Muslim scientists in the beginning. These two religions, these two continental religions, just like a continental tectonic plates, they had an encounter at what we know as the Crusaders, which was a war, but it was really a cultural, exchange as well. Just like the mitosis and meiosis in the cell division, when the two chromosomes get separated and then they come close together, an exchange takes place in the center of chiasma. A lot of things from the Muslim countries, Muslim culture went to Europe, and something from them came in this way. It seems that this time Muslim, they gave the baton of science and knowledge back to the European Christians, which if study well, I can see many of the bases for this today's science that we have is all coming from Islam. Even the camera, I saw it in Los Angeles, Camera Obscura by Ibn Haytham was there. Even the formula for the flight by Abbas ibn Farnas, and so on and so forth. But Muslim, they were not looking at the science as such. Science for them was a trait. The guy who was an engineer or a bricklayer, he knew how to build the whole thing. He was the mathematician too, as an engineer too, was a bricklayer too. He knew everything. But in Europe, matter went, classified, and it became methodically they went through, and of course, as you know, they enhanced and they got themselves freed from the religious power of the Vatican and emancipated really by the ideology of their Muslim brethren. Give it to them, boost them. Muslim, they went in to understand who they are and what's their relationship to God, spirituality, Sufism, mysticism. Thousands and thousands of books such as that is being written. Now, as you can see, Islam had the responsibility of making people who we are, enhancing our spiritual power, soul. Muslim individuals are very, very powerful individuals, characters. Whereas the white man in Europe were all technicians. They knew how to make out of natures, reconstruct the nature in building a house, a car. It's all from the nature, reconstructions. But as we come to the end of the religion of Islam, around 1844, so is the end of Christianity. Both of them, they ended at that day, very amazingly, because they both prophesied in Islam and Christianity of coming back of Jesus Christ. Muslim, they also believe in coming back of Jesus Christ. So when you look at that time, my dear friends in America, something was happening in the earth, very amazing. Americans, they were going through the Civil War, reconstructing their country, bringing social order, economical, benefits. Basically, the Europe that went there created a new world, the race of the Anglo-Saxons, which includes Canada, United States, and actually Australia. This Anglo-Saxon race was not after gold. They wanted to make the country and to rebuild a new one, what they were lacking in Europe. Initially, anyways, it was all Anglo-Saxon. Later on, other people welcomed too. But a system was made in US, as I said, economically, socially, which means making of a new country called United States of America or Canada. In Iran, the counterpart of the West, an ideology was getting revealed by God. It's called Baha'i Faith. When you look at these two things, Baha'i Faith and America, and Americanism, let's say, these two have a lot of affinity with each other. Amazing affinities. It seems the plan of Abraham for the Isaac and Ishmael, which was Christianity and Islam, at one point are coming together. One becomes the spirit, one becomes the body. Both of them are needed for life in this planet. Otherwise, it's impossible. What Americans were doing, or Anglo-Saxon race were doing here, they create this system, and the system, as it progressed, became a lot bigger than England itself, in every which way. So Americans, they got rid of not just the old countries, but old systems. They said, no kingdom. We are going to have democracy, a president elected. It's an amazing. Literally the dictatorship government of the past completely was getting overthrown by creating a new system, electing president. Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i Faith in Iran, was creating the same thing in the spiritual realm. The world always had been suffering by the dictatorship of ecclesiastics and clergies, self-appointed people or appointed by their own, a pope, an ayatollah, a lama, in all the religions. There's big, huge guys with the uniforms and special, dress, self-proclaimed holy people in many occasions. Baha'u'llah put an end to this. He says democracy is applied to the religion as well. Amazing. So he created a system of spirituality in which there's no priest. Baha'is, they would elect actually 9 people in a city. That is their priest by election. In this situation, this democracy is so amazingly progressive that you do not elect a person as the leader. No. You actually elect 9 people to create a system. Combination of the 9 is the system, not just one person. And these are at the city level, local level. They have another one at the national, like National Spiritual Assembly of the United States of America. I think situated in Wilmette, Chicago, Illinois. The big temple, Baha'i temple, is there. So, isn't it amazing? And at the world level, Baha'u'llah also says that let us elect another 9 people that become the supreme power, the Supreme Court. But again, 9 people, not 1. And those people elected by the Baha'is are equal to Pope or Ayatollah or any supreme leader in the religions. Baha'u'llah's democracy in religion is amazing, which is a recognition of human faculties, human power, human understanding. He has not revealed most of the laws that we might need to live with. He just brought some essential rules that constitute, essentially, a government of a spiritual government, the part of our life which is spiritual. But he says the rest of it, the elected member of the Universal House of Justice, they may enact new laws. They're as good as mine, he says, as if God revealed it. Some man in the Baha'i Faith, for the first time in the evolution of the religions, he became in charge of what's right and what's wrong for him and for his fellow human being, in most part. So this is one of the affinities. Americans could read of the dictatorship and kings and this and that. They create democracy, elections. Amazingly, in the spiritual realm, an Iranian named Baha'u'llah, glory of God, manifestation of God, he did. Let me talk to you a little bit about Baha'u'llah. Because he's from Iran, lots of you may think, oh, another Iranian from his name Baha'u'llah. Basically, Baha'u'llah, unlike other Iranians, he's an Aryan, his race is an Aryan. His father is a true Aryan king before even Arabs come here. This picture of Abdullah, his eyes is blue even. They were from north of Iran, around the Caspian Sea. I'm saying this to you, not that I believe there's a difference between a black or an Americans or Argentine or Japanese. They're all people. We all think, we all do right or wrong. We all have 2 eyes, in 2 years. So there's not much of a difference, really, to constitute any difference. They say race, but there is no race. It's just mankind thinking. But I'm just trying to tell you that Baha'u'llah was put in jail by the Iranian immediately. For what? These was one of his principles. Clergies, they didn't like his idea of getting rid of the priest and elections and democracy. They hated it. They still do. Then Baha'u'llah said, man and women have equal privileges and right in the society. He said that mankind is like a bird with 2 wings. One wing is closed, the other cannot fly. Indeed, this is the problem with all the Muslim countries, that they're behind, because the women, they do not have an effective and equal role as men. So when you look at that, it's the same thing in the West. There are so many affinities. For this kind of things, Baha'u'llah was put in jail and banished and condemned for all his life. From his home country of Iran, he was sent to Iraq, then he was sent to Turkey, and finally sent to Palestine, the Israel of today. Amazingly, to fulfill all the prophecies of the Bible. So do not look at him, please, at the Baha'i Faith as an Iranian movement. Far be from it. Right now, the government of Iran is killing the Baha'is every day. They hate the Baha'is for 2 reasons. That we recognize the equality of man and woman and their human rights to be the same. And the fact that there is no priest in the Baha'i Faith. They say, this is not our cookie, we don't want it. This is the main objection to the Baha'is. Baha'u'llah has revealed so many books. The Baha'i Faith has 4 authors. It's the Bab, Baha'ullah, Abdul-Baha, Shawif, and they're comprising of 500 books. Now, Baha'u'llah was in jail, died in jail. But some Americans, can you believe it? Some Americans, they knew these prophecies are fulfilling around the Holy Land and whatnot. Through some Baha'i teachers that was sent by Abdul-Baha in the United States, they decided to come to the United States. At one time, the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish Empire, was going to banish Abdul-Baha to Libya. Americans, they provided the ship to make Abdul-Baha to go. Abdul-Baha said, no, I can't. I can't escape my destiny. If I have to be punished for what I say, then let it be. But God decided something else, and the Turkish Empire was vanished by the magnificent Ataturk. He got rid of them. So in 1912, Abdullah came to United States. Now, this is one of the greatest, most amazing things. I have solved all kind of a problem. As an elder of God, I am still amazed by this, and absolutely the first ever time miracle happening in the planet Earth. Not just by the presence of Abdullah, but by Americans themselves. They asked me that, you're such a great teacher, Abbas. I tell them where I come from, the great students are very rare. They're not found. So, Abdullah, the divine teacher, the interpreter of Baha'u'llah, his father died in jail. He himself at an old age, very old. He comes to the United States by the invitation of the Baha'is in 1912. When finally, by the new Turkish government, he was freed out of jail and out of, banishment. So they told him he's free now. But when he comes down to the United States, something amazing happened. There's a book here, I'll put it on the side. This book is called Mahmoud Diary. This is volume 1. This is about the United States. It gives you day by day chronicles, the itineraries of Abdul-Baha, day by day. As Abdul-Baha visited the United States, every day it's in this book, what happened on that day. What an amazing thing. Usually, you know, in the history of the religions, when anytime a religion comes, whether it was Moses, Buddha, Krishna, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, always the clergies, they start fighting back. They deny. In most cases, the prophet of God are slain by them. Jesus Christ is example one. Bob in the Baha'i Faith, the forerunner of Baha'u'llah, was killed by the Iranians. 750 bullets in his chest. Baha'u'llah was put in jail, banishment. It's always like this, isn't it? But it didn't happen in America. American did something very strange. Imagine a man who just came from jail, all his life in jail, come now to the United States. He can't speak English. He has some not very good, advanced at all, translator. Those days, 1912, Iranian, they couldn't speak one word of English. Where would you find a translator? He had some. Few of them even were bad and deceitful. With that, he goes and gives speeches to the Americans. And Americans, you gotta read these guys in your newspapers for the 2 years. Maybe 500 churches. They were begging Abdul-Baha to come in the church to speak about Baha'i faith. Have you ever heard a leader, a clergy, a priest of a different religion to go in a holy place of a different religion and speak about the religion there? For example, imagine some Muslim dude comes from any of these Muslim country to United States and is welcome to go into the church and speak, and all the Christian, they listen to him. And what's his teaching? Christianity is finished, Islam is a replacement of Christianity. Who would listen to this? Is it possible now? No. Or other way around, a Christian goes to the Muslim and goes into the church and gives speeches. The fact that he says that Islam is no good, I come here to replace you. Would that be possible? But this